Well, good morning. I was very optimistic when I saw the agenda yesterday. First, I made note that it was Mayor Price, not our former mayor, Mike Moncrief, so I knew that we weren't going to be running late right off the bat. And the second was I saw that I got to follow the banker and not Roy Brooks. I've tried to make it a practice in the last 6 years never to follow Roy. I just have to get up and say amen and sit down. That's all there is. But I cannot come to Texas Wesleyan without thinking of Gene Burge. Mentioned that Roy was on the Board of Trustees and Dr. Burge was on the Board of Trustees. You know, and right across the street off Rosedale, next to where Mama's Pizza was Burge Hardware. And when we were talking earlier, when Roy was talking about things, and when Andre mentioned grassroots, and then when the president of the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank came back all to the same thing. If we're going to fix this, it's up to us. And I guess considering what happened last night, it's appropriate to quote Ron Washington, you will or you won't, you do or you don't. And that's where we are. And thankfully, I think that Roy's right. I think that East Fort Worth, East and South of Fort Worth, is one of the best locations in the entire Metroplex. We've got 287, 820, I-30, 121. We've got at Richland Station, there's a TRE stop. I don't know if Michael's still here. If we get East First Street done, we'll have a good other route into downtown. But I want to tell you some things. In the last 10 years, a lot of people would be surprised that we have built over 5,000 houses east of Loop 820 in East Fort Worth. There is today getting poised to kick off a 170-acre commercial development at the corner of Trinity and 820. We've been needing stuff like that for a long time. We got obviously Renaissance Square. We've seen that for a long time developing here, and it's going to continue to develop. It's tough when folks lose their jobs at major corporations, at large government entities, things like that. But the good thing that comes out of it is, what do? They go and they start new businesses. And whether that's in their garage or in a rented office space or out of their bedroom or out of what used to be my office, like my wife did, when she started her travel business, that develops, it creates money and cash flow and jobs where none existed before. And like was also mentioned, if we wait around, Jay, just on spending federal dollars to fix our economy in Fort Worth, we're in tough shape. You know, CDBG dollars, we all covet those, and we work on projects to try to spend them, and we love to have it and be able to use them as a catalyst to kick off something else. But they're no good without private investment dollars. They just can't do it. $6-something million this year. We have a $1.4 billion budget for the city of Fort Worth. $6 million is not going to make or break us. And we better get used to the idea that it's going to be decreasing, and that the job of creating jobs and education is that collaborative effort that Roy talked about. I was at the obesity luncheon yesterday. I thought that was ironic, but have lunch and talk about obesity. Also was a question why they invited me off the council. But the collaboration and the efforts that we were talking about with the county was there, the city was there. We had folks from business, but talking about, what do we do? And the consensus was exactly what Roy expressed, and that is that you can't talk about health without talking about economic development. You can't talk about economic development without looking at transportation. You can't look at all of those things without wondering, what about our regulation? We talked about the CRA. Government often has really good reasons to do stuff, and then we do a really good job of screwing it up. So our job is to try to provide incentives and leverage where we can for the projects and the businesses, the education, the transportation. But the real heavy lifting is done by men and women, individuals who are going out there to make a difference, in their communities, in their own businesses, and in creating this demand and a way to fill it with services. So I'm very optimistic. I guess I was either raised that way or something, but I see potential. You know, you just look out the windows. Look across the street out there. The trees and the rolling hills and the water, the things that we have in East Fort Worth. Do you know how many people just long for that? I mean, you know, we have regulations that make people plant trees. Well, there's nowhere to plant trees on the east side because we're covered up in them. It's beautiful. And it really is something, and assets that I think we have to begin to be more positive about what we have and what we're doing and our situation, and less complaining, and less saying, poor us, we're on the east side or we're on the southeast side, and we don't get everything that everybody else gets. Well, you know, we've got a lot of stuff they wish they had. I mean, there are prairies on the west side where they have to plant one or two little stick trees, and we have all this beautiful, you know, native land. It's a great piece of ground for us to cultivate, to fertilize, and to bring along. And the collaboration is going to be the big key there, is continuing to work together, staying positive, looking for the small things and celebrating those, and wait until they work into bigger things. But I'm very excited about what's going on. I will tell you that we're going to work on because of, as Roy says, the miracle of redistricting, that, you know, Dr. Burgess may not represent this area, but, and I hate to say that we did this, but it was in Frank's hospital room in Houston. Frank and Kathleen and I talked about how we continue this effort together with the three of us sponsoring an East, and it may be East and Northeast. We may include do Southeast, East, and part of the North part of my district, but to continue this effort, and we'll probably start that in the spring with some sort of an economic summit, and we'll continue to invite all of the good people that are here and participating. So we are moving forward. We're not going to take excuses. We're not going to say that because they don't give us this or they don't give us that it can't be done, because it can, and it can be done in the hearts and minds of people that live right here in East Fort Worth. So anyway, I'm pleased to be here. Thanks.